Welcome to Combat Cocktails. I'm your host, Derrick Schommer. I got with me Ian Andrews and a couple of our friends here from Rumsons. I'd like you guys to introduce yourself.
I'm Steve Warren. I'm from Rumsons. I don't really talk this fast, but I'm gonna.
No, but you
tone
can.
it up. No one can talk as fast as you, Derrick.
I know.
I'm Steve Warren. We're Rumsons Rum from Salem, Mass. Business partner.
I'm Eric Glass. I'm with Rumsons Rum as well.
You know what I forgot to ask you guys is how you feel on camera. I didn't think of that. Like some people freak out.
I feel alright.
And it
I was feeling.
It's been a long time since I've been on camera, but I'm okay.
it helps to have other people. But I've had a bartender who just went, like he was trying to pour a drink and he was just doing this and the jigger and it was flying everywhere.
Wait a minute. A camera?
There's a little one. There's all over the place.
Deer in the headlights.
I know.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is kind of go through. We've done some tastings of this. I know Curtis had brought it over at some point in time years ago.
About a year or so.
A year.
Probably a year
Only
ago.
a year and a half ago.
So not years ago.
A year ago.
It was, okay, we were over there in the corner with the table at the time.
Well, this is
Old
new since
school.
about December, so
Yeah, it feels like a long time.
it does.
I think you have some here and you have some over there.
Yeah, this is probably true. So with this, what I want to do is understand a little bit about what you guys are doing, what your life ambitions are, and then I also want to taste some of it. If it involves
We're getting
rum.
deep. We're getting deep.
I wanted to make it sound more intellectual, and it's probably going to turn out to be.
No, it's getting deep.
Yeah, I know. I try to do the best. So, what are the different selections of product? And I know we should drink them in a specific order for the best experience.
Yeah, we do 4 different rums. They're all, well, these two are very related to each other. These are sort of separate entities in that we flavored them.
Right.
We'll tell you about the rum. Before we taste them, though, maybe we'll give you some brand history.
Yeah.
But, well, let's intro. Let's do an intro on the rum. Are we tasting? We're not tasting yet.
Well, I may as well get
We
started.
can we can retaste, too. We can taste multiple.
I'm
I'm down for that.
If you're done, you know, it's...
You guys want to share?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
We
fine.
already have each other's cooties. It's okay.
What?
All right, so now you're done pouring, I can hold it up and actually show the bottle. So our first product is the rum. We named it very creatively rum.
It's called rum.
It is called
But you know
rum.
what I like about that?
You can't confuse it? No.
You know what
I
you
just
get.
we did a couple recipe books and I did a lot of research to try and understand rum,
Yeah.
right? Because aged rum and light rum are the same.
It's blended age, yeah.
Dark rum is like aged rum, which could also be a light rum.
Right.
So like rum.
Yeah. There's
It's a
bit of-
versatile rum.
There's a bit of ambiguity in the in the whole category.
But not there.
But not here, it's rum.
Oh yeah.
So in order to be rum, it must be distilled first from sugarcane.
Right.
It can either go
Sugarcane
sugarcane juice, or it can go molasses, which is a byproduct of making sugar, refining sugar. These are distilled from molasses, sort of in the
I
English
like
slash
molasses.
Spanish style. Yeah, good stuff.
I'm a fan. I like the molasses more than like the agricole. It's just I don't know why.
You know,
it's
I'm with
different.
you. Totally different.
It's got that weird grassy, earthy. I mean, it's fine. I like everything. But if I'm gonna sit and when I say I want to enjoy rum, that's not what it is.
That's not what comes to mind.
No.
Yeah, I'm with you. Sort of the same. So rum is a blend of 5-year-old rums, again distilled from molasses. They go into American white oak bourbon barrels used once for bourbon, then recharred before they receive the rum. So it's a blend of different 5 years that we designed this rum with the idea that it would be the cocktail rum. So daiquiris, mojitos, pina coladas, you know, anything rum based. But it's a beautiful rum. Guys that like a dry whiskey enjoy sipping it. Some of the oak comes through, the vanilla, the char. We have it. You can give it a try. But that's the rum. You want to talk about the Grand Reserve?
I'm not standing on ceremony.
The rum, you're actually going to notice probably a little bit of Spanish English style, so you mentioned you didn't really like the floral or the grassy as much. You're going to get a little bit of that in there, which makes it a little bit more versatile for actually cocktailing, because it's a little bit lighter. It is still a full-bodied dark rum, but it's more versatile. Grand Reserve, blend of 5 through 23-year-old rums. This is much more rummy, so you get a lot more vanillins from the barrel coming through on this. It's going to be more caramel in the middle. The finish, unlike that one, the finish is a little bit oaky and a little bit char at the end. This is going to finish much more organic. The older barrels have been sitting there so long, they're wet, they got more funk going on. I describe it as leathery, but you get more of that organic sort of earthy taste out of this one. You'll still notice the oak, but the oak is not nearly as sharp as the first one. Which is,
Yeah, it's a bright vanilla. So when you guys do tastings, do you do them with these?
I was just going to use that one.
Yes, we carry along a lot of very nice Glenfiddich glasses.
Share it.
Is this me and you?
No, I was going to share that one,
Hold on.
then we can do spice and then
We're all going to share that one?
Yeah, why not? It's
We
booze.
can do that. I'm good. You guys good?
Yeah, this is the Grand Reserve,
All
right?
right.
Yeah.
I feel rum is a communal drink.
No, I like the rum. It's
The
got like a
regular.
very pleasant burn. It's got a nice
Little
even
heat.
burn.
That's gonna have less heat.
Yeah, it doesn't like spike in your mouth anywhere. It's
In cocktails, it adds a nice rum flavor without going crazy.
Yeah, I found like when you take those high test rums, they still do come out pretty well. Like if you play a subtle rum and a drink that has a lot of flavor, it kind of loses a lot of it. And now you're basically got vodka. You're just like, oh,
Yeah.
I just need more alcohol in here.
Well, that's why some of the other players do so well.
that's really smart.
Because they cocktail.
5 years knocks the sharp edges off, so you
Yeah.
still get like that pleasant burn. You know, for some folks that don't drink spirits, it's a burn and they need the mixer.
Right.
But if you're a spirit guy, it's a perfectly
Yeah.
sippable.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Rum.
that's
That's it.
delicious. And the Grand Reserve is even smoother and more drawn out, and like I said, the vanilla character is like really
It's heavier too.
up front.
Is that
Right.
wrong?
Ages,
None of
you
the
said
wrong
at
with
23
that.
to 5, right?
It's a
23
blend.
up to 20. There's
The youngest
younger
is
So
guns
five.
is
up
it
to
like a
older.
Solera like?
It's
system,
not a
or-
Solera. We take different barrels, pull them together.
So you don't know what the
percentage
percentage is though of what goes in what? It really doesn't matter since you don't have.
There's
any
not a
memory.
ton of 23 in there. There's some 23 in there. There's a predominant amount of 5, and then we get various ages, and then we pull it all together. The 23 is giving you much more that organic taste at the end,
Yeah.
more of the vanillas.
If you had to stamp an average age, it'd probably be a 15.
You can't.
But we did.
Theoretically, it's just the youngest age, so that's why none
Is that
of
what it
these-
would happen though?
Yeah.
Like you'd have to put 5.
Yeah, and that would say 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we're not. We're not interested in,
May actually say a
in
little less.
putting
We have to
an
put it
age.
up a little bit too.
Then we're locked into whatever the age says, and we'll blend in the future to flavor. So it may have a higher consistency of 23, depending on how dense that next batch.
This
is.
could be a 4-year-old.
23
It's
is-
got barrels will be matched.
So if you get away from making the statement, it keeps you from
Gives us
being bound to
flexibility.
the statement.
Yeah.
That's
it
why
gives
this
us
one just said
flexibility,
rum,
absolutely.
and maybe it'll be blended aged rum or something in the future to give it a little bit more. It sits a little flat. Consumers, I think people once they try it, they realize it's a really good rum. But if you sit on the shelf, it's rum.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because it is delicious. I mean,
It's a good rum.
it's something that people, especially, I think, if they're not familiar with spirits and they're looking to get a rum, it seems like a great introductory rum
Yeah.
for people because
But,
it's
you're not gonna go
delicious,
wrong
it's
with it.
not scary or intimidating.
I try to get people, and it's a hard thing, but it's you've got to get people away from the idea that you have to have that a 5-year isn't young. Like a 5, because if you think, oh, it's like a Scotch, 5-year Scotch, it's not
Compared
like a
to
5-year
whiskey, 5
Scotch,
years is really old.
right? So it's
Something
like
like a 20, 25 or something.
at least 15, right? I mean,
Because
the humidity and everything.
Yeah,
So
yeah, 80,
I think
80% humidity.
it's like 2 or 3
80
times.
This is, the rum ages
faster.
quick
Yeah.
in a way.
So if you put 5, it looks young, but it's
Yeah.
if you don't put anything, you're like, oh, rum.
Right.
I like the
It's
old
supposed
rum.
to be an approachable rum, versatile. You can put it on the rocks, a little bit of water. You can cocktail it.
Should just call it buy
Everyone.
me,
Yeah.
buy me rum.
Buy me rum.
Yeah.
Buy more of me.
I gotta say, I love the
That seems to be the
logo
spice.
design, too.
Hey, yeah, let's
The
talk
Rumson's
about
logo
Let's
is
talk about the logo.
really
a little
cool.
bit. Thank you. Appreciate it. So, before we move on from the Grand Reserve, people, when they think of rum, they think like fruity cocktails. And like bourbon, whiskey, scotches, they're having their day. Like so many more people are appreciating spirits straight up because of that kind of brown spirit movement. And we're starting to see the groundswell of rum.
Finally!
Yeah, finally, right?
Tequila's had us some time.
Yeah.
Mezcal's kind of there now. It's growing, and I'm like waiting for rum because when that happens, more brands compete for shelf space, which is bad for you guys, but
Right.
it's good for consumers. It's like, more rum. Flavor.
Yeah, exactly. But now we're finding more and more restaurants that are open to putting this into their, their sipping spirit section on the menu, like after dinner or whatever.
Because
So-
that's kind of where that fits, right? It's
Yeah.
like you sit down,
It is, I mean,
like a scotch. I'd rather drink that than a scotch,
Yeah.
personally, because
I mean,
it's not very
Zacapa and Diplomatico have helped pave the way, candidly.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the two players right now. This is in that world. Depending who you are, I might think it's better, and you'll certainly think it's comparable.
Yeah, but I like that. Even in cocktails, I like that if it's the primary component. If there's a few other things going on, it's not too bad. I mean, putting an older rum in a daiquiri is cool because you can.
Yeah.
But it's good in like a rum sidecar, something that had a lot of
Yeah.
rum. Like it's all
Yeah.
rum, and then there's a couple little nuanced flavors in there.
Yeah.
Mai Tai or something's not bad in this.
Mai Tai, yes. Anything.
It's probably a little better than Mai Tai, but they both work.
Well, in a Mai Tai, wouldn't you just do like all of them? It'd be
Exactly.
like you'd be like a little of
That's
this,
what
a
I
little
tell
of this,
everyone to do.
and then you add a
It
little
should be
bit
a
of that.
4-ounce Mai Tai.
Yeah, like, exactly. So the Mai Tai is heavy on this, medium on this, a little bit of this, and that's on the top.
Right.
Boom, that's a Mai Tai. And maybe you add a little lime,
Yeah.
and you're good.
So Grand Reserve is the sipping rum. We designed it to be appreciated neat or over ice. But I think later in the show, we might do a cocktail.
I'll do shots of it. I don't care.
Yeah.
But the bottle lends itself to that too. It's like a shorter, squatter bottle that makes me think that it's more of a sipping than the tall.
Yeah.
I like the differentiation.
Oh yeah, that's the only one that's different.
Thanks for tuning in.
I didn't even notice.
These are sort of cocktaily, that's sort of non-cocktaily.
So that's how it works. Marketing. Let me just start with this so we get out of the way. Where do you buy it? Can you
Well,
buy it online?
if you're in Massachusetts, you're in luck. If you're in New Hampshire, you can buy the spiced rum.
Yeah.
Sadly, we're not yet to New York. Once we're in New York State, they have the ability to ship throughout the country.
Nice.
Our laws in Mass don't allow us to ship out of state. So that's a challenge, but we're looking for distribution. If there's any distributors
We do
that
have
might be
distribution.
interested in our brand, reach out and contact us. We are looking to add additional states. But presently, Massachusetts and New Hampshire is where you have to be.
Yeah, in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, we're working in other states, we're working in other countries. They all take time. It helps if you ask. So if you go to your liquor store and you ask,
Right.
hey, can I get Rumson's rum? It's going to help us.
It's one thing to say in the chat room, but definitely.
Particularly if you're in New Jersey right now and you are in your liquor store and you go to ShopRite or Liquor Outlet or all the other ones down there, ask them to ask Breakthrough Beverage if they're going to get Rumson's rum.
That's
Oh,
sweet.
little
Flash,
plug there
flash,
for some.
flash crowd.
Well, I paved the way a little bit. Let's get
Gotta
them,
drop those names.
get some
sometimes.
pulling.
Yeah, you just sometimes it just helps to ask people for a thumbs up, man.
Yeah. So someone just asked about California. California is not out of the question. It's just out of the question for a little while. Yes, you're right. We are trying to work on it. We're working on Illinois as well. We're working on them all. I mean, we're targeting the Northeast and kind of working away from there. So
But I saw there was an online site. I don't know.
Mass only.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They thought they could ship nationally, but
They did a couple of times.
they did. Well,
It didn't work out so well.
don't mention
Everybody
any names.
tries it a couple times,
Right.
and they're like,
And then
oh,
it stopped.
snap. Yeah, I had a guy who wanted to ship me like 7 bottles of like Everclear, like the high end Everclear. I'm like,
You can't ship that.
how are you gonna ship that? He's like,
It's like
well,
rocket
I'm like,
fuel.
you need like a bomb license. He's like, I have one. I'm like, seriously? He's like, yeah. Like they ship bombs and stuff. Like I'm like, oh. And then it turned out it wasn't very cost effective to ship a half pallet of product because they want to ship a lot of it. I'm like, I don't need that much Everclear. It'd just be nice to have because we can't get it here.
Speaking of ways to get flagged by the Homeland Security,
They can't hear this. So then somebody had to ask who was the inspiration for the dog.
Here we go.
I have 2 dogs. They're both boxers. The first one is a likeness, which is Goliath. He's an 11-year-old boxer, fawn-colored. The business name Pirate Dog Brand was the original sort of brand name, which wasn't a really good name, but it was dear to my heart because my dog is my pirate dog. I got a second boxer in the process. We got challenged by Patron. They didn't like our original name because they have pirate rum.
Do you have some of them?
No, I don't actually have that.
So we had to come up with a new name. I was trying to come up with a name for my dog before I had to come up with a name for the business. I'm like, I gotta name after the business somehow. He's gonna have to be something. I'm like, oh, Rumford, because I'm a Mumford and Sons fan,
Yeah.
so I'm thinking
Nice.
that. And then I'm like, no, son of Rum, Rumson. So the name of my second dog, which they both kind of look the same, they're both boxers, ended up being the name. We got challenged. We were trying to come up with another name. Most names that you'd like are either taken or
It's like a
not
domain
good.
name.
Yeah, it is.
It's a long
Yeah.
process.
Like,
Yeah, you're trying to find something.
costs
It's
more.
it's got a nautical sort of piratey theme to it, so we had to come up with something that's going to be the dog relatable or nautical sort of piratey. All those good names are gone. I mean, no one really liked Keel Hall, and there was a few others. In Rumson, we ended up testing, loosely with consumers. Rumson Bay, Rumson Keena popped quite a bit, so now it's named after the other dog. So
That's pretty.
that's
We're,
cool.
we're a very dog forward centric brand. Eventually, we may tie into a cause and sort of help the dog world. Yeah, this is so cool. This technology. We've got the streaming sort of chat room comments.
Yeah.
We
Well,
can just
Wayne
kinda-
asked it. He said he's in Rhode Island. Is there any?
the guy in Rhode Island, yeah, there's a lot of stuff down in Southern Mass. If you go to the Rumsons website, www.rumsons.com, you'll be able to search where the store locators are.
Yeah,
I
there's a
can't
lot.
think-
There's a
there's
good
quite a
border
few down
store.
there.
I
Yeah,
just had to
Bedford.
look that up.
Or New Bedford area.
Yeah.
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 There's quite a few.
The whaling city.
Yeah,
But-
I love,
I had my first fight there.
If you see me in my boat, you'll see the logo on it. There's always booze in the back of the boat.
Nice.
pirate dog.
But the
Free
goal,
samples.
though, from my perspective, is to say, if you see, like, if this video is out there forever, right?
Yeah.
So in 2 years, if you guys are in California and somebody sees this video, they can go, oh, because what they do is a lot of people have told me this, and they don't make this stuff up usually, is they'll see something on the show and we like it, whatever, and you go to a liquor store and there's like a bazillion things and they all pretty colors and funny bottles. When they see something we've done on the show and you've got a logo, they're like, oh, I saw that. That's no question.
Let's do the spice.
That's this one, right?
Yeah, I think that's the
It's
spice.
that one, yeah.
Smell it, you'll know. Butterscotch.
I relined
Oh
it
yeah.
up.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Good. Someone's organized.
I want candy. That's what he does. He does all this weird movements and stuff, and I just drank.
So moving down the line on to spice and coffee, we took some 2-year-old rum, so beautifully aged and distilled rum, and we did a spice flavor. We bottled them all at 80 proof. In case you're wondering, they're all at 80 proof.
That even the spice rum?
Yes.
That's not normal.
And the coffee too. I think we were the only coffee spirit at 80 proof.
It's usually 35, right?
And the great thing is, it's like
Yeah.
it's 40 proof or 80 proof, but they're still sweet.
Yeah.
You
New
don't
Hampshire
lose the
too.
sweetness too
Yeah.
much.
And you can sip
Really
on that.
vanilla,
Like I mentioned, like our goal was that all the spirits be good enough to drink straight.
And this is one I can
And-
get at the New Hampshire liquor store.
You can't.
You can right now.
You can.
Still a little bit of coffee. Hopefully,
I
Grand
think we
Reserve
should
again soon.
accomplish so.
And I love that, like just over ice and a squeeze of orange, and I'll
Oh.
sip that. But this is our best seller, not a runaway, but
Like
a
lots
little
more.
bit ahead of the rest.
You're gonna
Spice.
rub on your nose
Yeah.
when you have
Just
the crime
it's
scene.
so versatile.
People like
Oh, you
spice.
saw that.
Yeah, it mixes great with ginger ale, ginger beer, Coke. You know, like the Cuba Libre with this. But
Yeah.
any kind of citrus.
you
Rub it
doing?
on your mustache.
Don't you remember the review?
We did a review and
Oh, that's
I mentioned
awesome.
putting it like
When you get the crime scene, you
yeah,
put it underneath
instead
your
of
nose.
a mixed vapor rub
And
under
the
it.
other response
Exactly.
is like, what?
Well,
That's
I didn't.
At least
see
you know
that
what I was
coming.
talking
that's
about.
another
so.
use. Yeah, we should.
So you can put it on your nose.
Yeah, rum used to be a
So
perfect.
one
We
and a
used
half
to make
years for that.
perfumes out of rum. We should do
Really?
that too. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Oh,
could, that
that'd
could
be
be your
an
next
interesting
thing.
little, like a
Rumson's
marketing giveaway
perfume.
type thing.
Yeah.
You just got to get like some famous pop.
We're working on Canada,
Star or
maybe
something.
Ontario soon.
to, like talk about it.
Exactly.
Put out the range for you.
Started thinking about who that'll be.
Taylor Swift, obviously.
Spiced rum. Okay,
Popular.
so mixes well with like any citrus. Pineapple is like a go-to. Orange.
It also makes Captain Morgan taste like water.
Yeah.
Yes.
Captain Morgan is already near the water level, anyways. But like that, it is by far the worst possible thing you can put on the market to showcase spiced rum.
Yeah.
And for some reason, everybody thinks they have to buy it. Where you get something like this, where you're gonna taste it and you're gonna be like, "Oh, this is awesome," and then they're gonna tell their friends. Like, you're really just gonna get into one person's hand, right?
Right.
They're gonna be like, "This is."
It's gonna spread.
We sell the most spice.
Yummy butterscotch flavor.
I've got my boss to appreciate that.
Oh, good. Thank
It's
you.
good with like citrus.
You have
Spread the
that?
word.
Was
Welcome.
You have that?
I have a couple empty bottles. now. I've gone through some.
Wow. Very
So you
cool.
already know what this tastes like.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I love this thing. It's good.
So spiced rum, butterscotch, vanilla.
Yeah.
You know how hard it is though to do good spice rum? Like, there's a
Wasn't
lot of
that hard?
spice rum.
Yeah.
Why is it so hard? Like,
Well, you got to start with an older rum, so it's a
Yeah.
2-year-old rum, which makes it a good rum to begin with.
so
If you
everyone's
talk about
hiding
the
the young ones.
rum again is like dog years,
Right.
so 2 years is like 100. So it's already
That's like
a smooth rum.
100-year-old spiced rum.
It
right
is.
there.
So it's already a good rum, and then you use good spices. It's all natural. They're all sweet spices for the most part.
And was that your job to do all the spicy stuff, or did you make him do that? Or?
That's
you
my
guys-
palate.
We had the hard job of having to taste a lot of rums.
Dude, it takes a long time.
And before
It's
this,
so
like other rums, like the competition's rum,
yeah.
Yeah, I got a big collection too.
to kind of yeah.
You want
Yeah.
to find out what the market is, what's maybe missing in the market that you can bring. Yeah.
There's no.
I had a preference. I mean, I always drink. I mean, I can say names. I mean, I was drinking Zacapa. Someone mentioned Zaya earlier. I drank Zaya. I drank Diplomatico, Plantation, Mount Gay Extra Old. The person who likes Zaya, you'll probably like this better. It's going to be in that world, but a little bit nicer. But like those are the rums that I was in, and I wanted to make something like that. So I mean, that was kind of the start. Was let's make this rum. The likelihood of making a business off of this rum is not easy. So it's like, okay, we got to launch a rum that you can make cocktails with, and we got to have a spiced rum. This was an afterthought, which we can talk about in a minute. But
Yeah, I mean, most of the spiced rums I've had don't have that much forward butterscotch.
Yeah.
I've had
A lot of vanilla.
Rio Azul tequila.
That's what we
Añejo
did.
has
We did
some
a
butterscotch
comparison with
flavor.
Captain Morgan 1671. Is that what it was? 1671.
Yeah.
But,
yeah,
which
that
has
is
a butterscotch flavor.
Right.
But I don't like it nearly as much as that.
It's
crack is
kinda too
probably the
much
closest
butter.
thing to this.
Really?
It's more vanilla. But
I thought
it's-
crack is a little bit more aggressive.
It is, but it's probably like the closest
Flavor
thing I could compare
profile-wise.
it to.
Like, here's some butterscotch right in the face.
I feel
Kraken's a lot of
yeah, I feel
vanilla.
like this
I can drink it.
presents-
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I can drink it. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know if I drink it in. Is that the one we didn't like in Coke, rum and Coke?
Yeah, we didn't
I
like
wouldn't put it in rum coke, but if I was going to
No,
sip it,
it's-
I can sip Kraken.
Yeah.
We did a rum and coke blind tasting with some the 4 different categories of rums.
And it was
a mix of them.
that
Some was
what
good, some was not so good.
I saw that
so
one.
good.
Oh, okay.
I think this presents like opposite. A lot of them hit you with like the cinnamon or the clove or something up front. This hits
Yeah.
you with the sweet, and then the nuts come in subtly.
Yeah.
The nutmeg, the clove, a little bit of cinnamon.
I get a lot of the
On
vanilla
there.
in the nose myself. I don't have the best nose, but
Butterscotch?
vanilla and the butterscotch, yeah, especially the butterscotch.
I
and
get
spice really
butterscotch
come out.
in the nose.
This
and
is
then more.
this is killer with ginger beer and a little pineapple.
Oh,
That's a fun one.
that
I don't know
sounds
if
good.
that was on our list tonight or not.
I'm gonna have to
Well,
watch
either
the
way.
live stream
Well,
so
put
I
it
can
this
write
way.
down all these
I know there's-
these pairings that you're talking about.
There is a recipe that will come up this week that does have ginger beer because I put it in the refrigerator because
Oh,
I
yeah.
knew it called for ginger beer.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So if you only had one like that, then that's the one. Otherwise, it could be disappointing.
So you want to answer a couple questions before they disappear and
There's
go on the
questions,
coffee?
yeah.
So price range, the tall bottles, rum,
Yeah.
spice rum, coffee rum, typically about 32. They range from 30 to 35 depending on the store. New Hampshire State Liquor Store, this is $29.99.
On sale. All the time.
It's always on sale.
Yeah.
It's just the way they do it up there. The Grand Reserve is typically about 45. You'll see it as low as 43, maybe as high as 50, but it's usually right around 45. Kraken is a pretty good sipper. This is probably a little bit better sipper.
Obviously.
So I got a question.
Our favorite.
You have
I'm a sipper. I drink the Grand Reserve
yeah.
the
that's-
most, but they're all my favorites, and I use them differently. And Steve would probably say the same thing. I don't drink really coffee, but I'll do a pina colada in this. So I'll make what I call coffee frap, which is ice, a little bit of milk, coffee, rum, and then I blend it up. It's a one drink thing. This I do a lot with citrus and punches, or I'll top with it. And then this one I do a lot of cocktails. We've been doing like rum smashes lately at a couple of restaurants, which is more heavy this, but I'd probably do more of this. So I like the old school daiquiris and.
But at the end of the day,
things.
the palate of the common man is probably going to go with this for the spice for a lot of their
Probably,
product.
yeah.
Future plans for different flavorings. That's a good question.
Yes.
Cotton.
There are future plans. One of the distributors we're talking to has offered saying maybe make this just call this butterscotch and then launch a different spiced, which could happen because then it's the maybe a little bit more appropriate and you get something that's spiced, which is more familiar.
That just comes down to marketing.
Some of it's, I mean, these are built off of things that we kind of liked and knew. This is actually the state of Maine play, although we're not there yet.
Us Mainers like our coffee.
Yeah.
I love coffee.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's some big spirits up there that they drink a lot of it. So I don't know what the flavors are going to be yet. I mean, we could do something RTD if there's some other small local players that do ready to drink cocktails already. There's punches that are already done, old fashions that are already done. So we could do something like that. You could have a dark and stormy, different name ginger beer rum thing done, and there could potentially some other flavors. That's probably just kind of seeing where the trends are.
Can you bottle bitters where you are, or do you have to do that?
Should be able to do it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it would. our
We have a
license should
full-blown
cover that.
DSP.
Yeah.
To distilled spirits plant license. So
Because you need one of those for bitters. I think even New Hampshire.
We should
I know
be
in
able
New
to.
Hampshire. Because that would be cool to use one of the if you use this or one of these as a base for a bitter brand.
Oh,
Just
look
do
at
like a trade spice bitter, like nutmegs and allspices. Kind of like a spice rum, but bitter. Probably less butterscotch.
It'd be fun to have a bitter company use our spirit as a base. Let them do the hard work.
Right.
Yeah. Provide the base and be like a co-branded.
I can make a bitter for you, but I can't
Hey.
bottle.
they're all 750s.
They look bigger.
750, 750, 750, 750.
Reminds me of
This
the
is
KFC
like
commercial.
Jeopardy. Now we have to guess the question. The question was.
This is the closest
size
one
was
to
the bottle?
Bacardi Gold. Well, someone asked, what's the closest one to Bacardi Gold? This is probably the closest one. It's going to be more flavorful than Bacardi Gold. It's going to be smoother than Bacardi Gold.
Yeah, that's not really one of my top of the.
Well, I mean, they asked what's the closest one to
No,
it. So,
No, like a Monkey drinker. We do a lot of yacht club stuff, which is Monkey has a grate in there. So we're sort of converting them over to our rum on our 5-year. I think it's a.
we've talked about overproof rum.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I don't know what we'll do with it.
I like an overproof rum.
Well, you often water it down anyway.
True.
What? No.
Like there's
Unless it's
there's a
Or float
couple.
to light on
There's
fire.
two, maybe
Tiki
three you
fire.
might drink. Sip.
Yeah.
The rest you gotta I gotta cut this. It's
Yeah.
just whoa.
Well, I would cut like Bacardi, but most of them like Lemon Hearts and those all different.
Hamilton.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty those ones are good.
So we haven't played with it that much yet.
Should
It's
do
a whole different
one
blend.
coffee.
Like I can't just take this rum at barrel proof and then taste.
Right.
It's not gonna taste right because it's blended to be at this proof.
Right.
That's sort of the challenge. Like Well, it is because you flavor and blend to the proof that you're going to. It makes a big difference. Like if you think this is great, I'm going to water it down a little bit. It's going to totally change the profile.
It's like when you're trying to balance a cocktail. You have to balance the weak, the strong, the sweet, the sour, the salty, the bitter. You got to do the same thing when you're blending a spirit, right?
Right.
It's a matter of starting with a whole bunch of new barrels.
Yeah. And it would be much more expensive that way. If I do the cocktail wrong, I just go like this and make it.
Well, we'll be a lot. If you say this is a 151, the liquid's now twice as much. My taxes are twice as much. I mean, federal government gets a lot of money on this bottle. So
Yeah. That's true.
So you guys go around and you set up cocktails as well at places? Do you propose
Try to.
menus and stuff? Is that
That's
part of what
not
you do?
like our expertise. We're
No,
sort
it's
of
not.
learning as we go.
Okay.
But
But as a promotional thing to promote the product, you have like a recipe book that you promote to bars and stuff?
our website has some drink recipes. They're fairly basic if you've looked at them.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a great show that kind of gives the common man access to like more complex to challenge themselves on the cocktail front.
Right.
We haven't done that. Ours are like pina coladas.
Right, but you're
daiquiris.
only you're still kind of in the New England zone. So like the minute you get to the U.S., where
Right.
you're everywhere now, it's probably more.
Yeah.
Of a
And you'll have people
problem.
making drinks for you, or designing cocktails at some point.
I'm hoping
Just
we pop in the next
out of desire,
year or
not
two.
Right.
contractually.
We
but-
should pop in a few more states, and hopefully that few states leads to. We're in discussions where it could make it a bigger pop.
What's really fun for us is when a venue that really knows what they're doing. And there's some great bars in Boston, like
Right.
Big Mike at the
Never get
Envoy
to try
Hotel, and like he comes up with amazing stuff. Like,
like,
I
that's
would have
good.
thought of that.
Big, bold coffee flavor. It's sweet and some. We put a little bit of sweet spices in there, so you know some of the vanilla, nutmeg, and clove coming through.
Whoa.
But it's more coffee than coffee. And you can almost get a little
you can smell
coffee acid, like the,
Yeah,
the
yeah, oh, no, you
bitterness.
do.
The second sip, you won't get that.
The,
But the first one, you get coffee shock.
It
Yeah.
smells like coffee. It
It
doesn't
smells
smell
like
like a coffee liqueur, like a Kahlua or a syrup.
No, it smells like somebody just liquid coffeed you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
How does
'cause,
one liquid coffee someone?
like I just did. It comes out your fingers.
Oh, okay. Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, spidey thing.
Yeah.
Puckering on that first sip, like with a-
It's a little bit. You get coffee shock. You know, someone just gave you espresso that you weren't ready for.
No, but now rum and coffee.
Oh yeah, that's totally not the same.
Can I,
It's like-
I want a second shot.
It's totally different because now your tongue knows what to expect.
Yeah.
Or your palate, or whatever you want to call it.
Sweeter.
What got you into the idea of making your own rum? Was there some kind of epiphany that you're like, I want to make rum? or did you have a background in distillation, or was it a hobby before?
I didn't. No, I mean, Steve has been going to the Bahamas for years. His wife's family had property down there. I started going about 25 years ago, so I've been going to the Bahamas for 25 years. And you go down there and you drink rum drinks and everything else.
Right.
I also have a Harley. I used to ride the Harley. I'd get back to the house and be like, oh, I want to drink scotch. I'd get back from riding. You should have like a snifter of scotch or a loaf of rocks. I never got it. Scotch isn't for me. It's bitter, dirt tasting, like the peat. Like I never got that taste. It's never going to be right for my palate.
So wait a minute. You were drinking scotch just because you're on Harley.
Yes.
I get it. Okay.
Because I came back and you got to sip something. I'm not going to just have a
It's like a
Corona.
wind down. After
it's
going on a long ride,
it's
it's
a
nice to wind
mindset.
down.
Yeah. Steve came back with a story once. We went on this cowboy excursion thing, and like at the end of the night, they had whiskey or screech or something. I don't know what it was.
Glenn McMorang.
Yeah, so he's like, oh, he's telling me about that. I'm thinking on the Harley. Yeah, I should be drinking scotch when I get back. I know I don't like Rago whiskey. Like, it's not my thing. I get too many stories when I was a kid.
It's funny how all our bad stories are from when we
yeah.
were too young to drink to start.
Oh, that's what they're all from.
Formative. Yeah.
When we're stupid,
So this guy
I guess.
that I used to work with, he's like, oh, you got to try sipping rum. I'm like, there's no such thing. What are you talking about? I drank Mount Gay and tonic, a little bit of lime. He's like, no, there is. You ought to try Zacapa, Zaya, Mount Gay, Extra Old, the Diplomatico. So I tried them all. I'm like, oh, this is good. Pirate, who challenged us.
Bastard.
So I tried them and I got into it. Zacapa was sort of my go-to prior to this. It was sort of where
Gateway rum, so to speak.
Yeah.
it's where my palate is. I like it. It's smooth, a little bit sweet, a little bit caramel. I've been reading about distilling. I originally used to homebrew.
Okay.
My beers sucked, but I mean, I did homebrew, and I
It's
always
fun.
thought I'd have a little microbrewery thing,
Yeah.
which I didn't think I could pull off. And around 2009 and 10, I started reading about the distilleries and the boom that was sort of happening. There was 120 distilleries and 200 distilleries. There's like 500 or something now. So I started researching it. I was thinking I was going to quit my job in 2010, start distilling. I blew up my back, had 2 surgeries.
Good reason I'm wrong.
I was at Novartis at the time. I used to be in consumer healthcare. I was launching a brand. We did not achieve nearly any of our metrics that we were supposed to. Most of the people were getting canned. So I called my wife and I said, my days are done here. I can try to reinvent, or I gotta find another thing. I'm like, I really want to do this distilling stick. So I've been reading about it. I went to Chicago and started doing a distilling school, so learned about it. Our original intent was, let's distill this stuff, make some good rums, and that'd be great. After going to distilling school, ready to buy the still, the guy that was selling the still is like, you're never gonna make the rum you want to make. Like, it's just not gonna happen. You ought to launch a whiskey or gin. I'm like, I don't drink it. So we went down a different path where we do all the blending now. So.
Not to mention, it's really expensive to start a distillery, correct? Versus
this is really expensive too.
okay,
The cash outlay is very complicated.
no doubt.
Yeah.
I've just heard like distilling versus starting as a blending. There's a different capital upfront expense. I'm sure it's still
a different. I probably could have started a still cheaper than we did this.
But would the product be as good?
Wouldn't have been anywhere near the same.
So
and
there
our
you go.
capacity never
Same
would have
price,
been able to reach the
low
capacity
quality.
I made with this.
Right.
Yeah.
So I might buy a 2,000 liter still, which is a big still. You're talking $250,000 piece of equipment. I'm only going to produce 400 bottles a day out of that. That's my max. Like, I have to buy another still. Like, it just the model doesn't work to make money, nor to make the rum that we want to make.
Business.
Yeah.
For
I think
the
for a lot
time
of
frame that we
people,
wanted.
So it's not scalable in the time frame.
It isn't
For us,
scalable properly. You're going to have to switch from either your little artisanal pot still or a nice column still, which I would have gone the path of a column still. I think you're going to get better spirit out of it. You control it better. You get your plates. It's going to do the exact same thing a pot still does, but rather than running it through 3 or 4 times, you're going to adjust your plates and rectify as it goes up, and you have a nice clean spirit. So eventually, I mean, you can make a nice quality spirit from that, but eventually you go into a bigger still that's got more capacity. It's no longer an artisanal pot-bellied column. Now you're into a big still, which you're going to make great spirits in those too. And the guys that we work with use a big column still. You adjust it in, you get rid of all the crap. You don't have conagers coming, the bad stuff coming through, fused oils and methanol. You do a good job with it. There's people that know what they're doing, and then it goes in barrels and it's aged, and you get good stuff out of it. So.
Right. So
And then it's up to you to design your product, not worry about the production aspect.
So you
which
take
is
that,
nice.
the not raw material, but the kind of the final product of the raw material, then you build your final product.
Look at barrels, figure out the barrels we want, blend them together, and here we go.
And according to my palate, it works out well. So
So the coffee, just to finalize on that, is definitely strikingly strong on coffee flavor.
Yeah.
I found like Kahlua is coffee and rum, right? But Kahlua is super sweet, and it's like over the top sweet, so it makes it very hard to balance in a cocktail.
Yeah.
As we've been finding out with some other stuff that's more of a sweeter thing, right? Because when you bring in coffee, you usually have to bring in some sweetness, but if it's already sweet to begin with, then now what do? You gotta add lemon and stuff, and it doesn't always come out right. So it's almost like coffee and core spirits, and then you're good. But if you have something that's over sugarified, you can't do any cool things with the sugar.
Yeah.
You can't add a cinnamon sugar. You can't add this because it's just so sweet.
it becomes an
So
80s drink.
you end up with an 80s drink. And that's how we all got there.
Not that there's anything wrong with 80s drinks.
No, there is a lot
Some
wrong
are
with 80s
delicious.
drinks.
I love a pina colada, I'm not going to lie.
That's not from the 80s, though.
That's a good pina
not?
colada.
Pina colada?
I like the
Frozen
pina colada.
No?
Pina
No.
colada
The
rain.
song, was that
Yeah.
the 70s? Maybe that was the
That
70s.
was, I think it was
70s.
even before that. You gotta read Potions of the Caribbean.
The coffee pina colada is awesome.
That sounds delicious.
It really is.
Coffee
and it's
pina
simple.
colada.
Nice.
But I like the way that it has that. I'm a coffee fan, so it tastes like coffee. And secondary to that is it's.
Yeah, you used to get all sorts of coffees from all over the place, didn't you?
I still do.
You still do? Okay.
I got 4 or 5 bags upstairs that
Nice.
I buy from Thanksgiving coffee that I found.
Yeah,
But-
it's great in a hot coffee, but in iced coffee. Like when we're bottling this, I'll show up with a big iced coffee and
Did you put that in there?
put that in there.
I don't care for hot drinks as much, but iced coffee is good. I don't like cold coffee. I like iced coffee.
Iced coffee. Yeah.
I don't know what the difference is, but it's
Well,
different.
no, there's the ice and the
Yeah.
That's
straw.
me or somebody else.
Is there more questions, Jennifer?
No, that's something. Did you already answer, will your rum age well over time?
It's not going to make much. I mean, it's aged in barrels. We control it sort of once we get it, and then it's going to be in a bottle. So
It's not gonna age it.
It's not going to really age that much at all.
So 20
That's
years
the whole
from now,
point of
it's
the
gonna
glass,
taste
right?
like
It's going to preserve and keep it from changing.
Unless it starts to evaporate some.
Sunlight,
You'll
if
get
you're
some
storing it in
settling.
the
We
sun,
do
that
not
can
chill
have
filter.
impact on flavor, but
So if they sit for too long, you're gonna get a little bit of stuff in it.
Like that one?
I think this is dirt
No.
on the bottle.
I keep
handled by-
dirt in there.
No, I mean, on the
it's on
bottle.
the outside. Thankfully, it's on the
Yeah, it's on the outside.
I'm
But
also
you,
gonna
I mean, you will get some settlements. We don't chill filter it.
Small point. I like your stoppers. They're easy to grab,
Synthetic cork.
and they're not.
Stick with that.
They
Yeah,
don't,
they're not
they don't
gonna
fall
crumble.
apart. They're
Yeah.
not gonna. Yeah.
The only thing, our throat's just a little bit bigger. I mean, most
Have
Android
them
pours
shoot
fit.
an
No
email or
problem.
something.
And it's a little bit heavy. I mean, it's really high quality
It is, yeah.
glass, so it's a little heavy. But we did not want to be excluded from a well.
Right.
It's an
Right.
expensive well pour.
Yeah.
But a place that's doing
Craft cocktail
some high-end craft cocktails.
Yeah.
So we did have bartender friendliness.
Nice.
Anything else we should mention before we start making cocktails?
Oh, there's all kinds of things we could talk about. You want to move on to cocktails?
Well, we can move on
We
to
can keep
cocktails
talking.
and keep
We
talking.
can keep talking. Yeah.
All right, so
Yummy
that's
rum.
a high level. I don't know how long the video went, but it's a high level view of. Actually, it's a low level view. It's every view of Rumson's stuff you probably won't get off of anywhere else. Trust me, I googled it. I was trying to find all the stuff on them before they got here, so I sounded smart. Not a lot, but now I have it.
But go ahead and follow us on Facebook.
You're on Facebook.
Yeah,
Oh, you're
we
Rumsons.
are. We're
I
at
added you.
Rumsons on Instagram, at Rumsons on Twitter. We don't tweet a lot,
you're
but
on-
we're out there.
You're on Instagram. 'Cause
Derek says we
Instagram's
need the
your shit.
Snapchat.
You gotta get on
Maybe we'll get there. Maybe that's our next
And
step.
definitely keep up with it. If you're looking for it in your location and you can't find it, ask your distributor, ask your bartender, ask people. Put the name out
helps.
there, and keep an eye out because you never
Especially
know when
if
it's going to
you're
come
in
to your
New
state. Especially
There's
if
a little bit of groundswell happening now, so hopefully we'll pop a little faster.
And all that matters is that we were there first.
That's all that matters.
Look, we saw these guys before they got
Breaking
popular.
news.
Breaking news, yeah.
flash.
You guys were early.
Yeah.
We got to get there before you guys get in the news for some sort of weird political schemes and stuff like that. It takes a few years. You got to get a good bankroll before you can start bribing people.
What?
You know, when you get a lot of money. That's what people have
I don't
money.
know what that's like.
I saw it. I see Donald Trump. I seen what's going on.
We did.
Yeah, you're running for president.
Before we launched, we were chased by pirates, and it could have had it ended differently. We may or may not have.
We would not be
ended
making
up-
rum.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
that
irony,
sounds like
I
a
couldn't
good
make a
story.
rum because I was actually
I was killed by pirates. Yeah.
You need to put that on your bottle. That's your story. It's because it's a good one. Like everybody else is like, oh, this is made in some weird Caribbean place with all kinds of. No, it's made in New Jersey. Shut up. You said no. We were really chased by pirates.
There's
That
fake people
Yeah.
and fake stories. And
Yeah, you're gonna stick with the
no.
real story. Fact.
Can't make this shit up.
No.
We gotta get that story in one of these next episodes.
All right.
Yes, absolutely.
That's it, folks.
Teaser, stay tuned.
Stay tuned. We're teaching you how to drink.
It's a little bit stronger on the flavor. It's drier. It's less sweet than the other ones.
This is a big boy drink right here.
And it's spicy. There's some spice in there. Not like a Bernie spice, but you know.
No, but you know what?
Get those Caribbean spices in
I
there.
don't like it,
I don't care for it as much as I like the
and I
okra.
don't think that is.